In an industry where everything is big, these are the biggest. Weighing in at 160 tonnes, they're able to carry more than 200 tonnes of ore. Moving these trucks across 360 kilometres of rough semi-desert country, through creek beds and over rough station roads, is an adventure most people would not want to try. It's a long, slow journey. Despite the 2,000 horsepower diesel locomotive engines, the haul packs crawl along at a maximum speed of 20 kilometres an hour, and that's on good roads. The trucks were originally bought by the Hamersley Iron Company for its Tom Price mine site, but the company soon found the giants were incompatible with the rest of the site's equipment. At the same time, the Mount Newman Company was looking to increase its fleet, and a deal was made. With a price tag of almost $2 million apiece, the decision by Newman to risk its new acquisitions on a rough cross-country haul could seem strange. But according to the Trek organiser, Terry McNamara, there were some advantages.
We felt it would be a time-saving exercise in getting the trucks to go to work carting waste, and certainly from mine and my off-siders' point of view that coordinated this trip, we thought it would be very interesting to do and something different for Mount Newman. I think it was slightly dearer, perhaps $5,000 or $6,000 to drive the trucks, but in the time gain bringing them from Tom Price to Newman, I think probably there'll be some monetary gain there, but at this stage we can't work it out. We contacted the manufacturer, and we had a manufacturer's representative travelling with us on this journey, and he assured us they were an off-road vehicle, and many of our experienced people in the maintenance of these trucks assured us that they could travel, but certainly there were some undertones in my mind that damage could have been sustained, and we'll allow some time for breakdowns, hopefully, of a minor nature.
But there were no problems at all. The 5 trucks and their support vehicles completed the journey in just 3 days, 2 shorter than expected, and without so much as a flat tyre. And from the company point of view, that must have been a relief. You could buy a small sedan car for the price of just one of the tyres on these trucks. Despite the ordeal of the cross-country trek, the Mount Newman Mining Company had little difficulty in getting its workers to take part. More than 60 of the company's haul pack drivers volunteered. The 5 who went on the trek won the job by having their names pulled out of a hat. And despite 3 days of heat, flies and red dust, it was difficult to find any complaints at all.
We only had a couple of bad patches. That was that bull dust this morning, wasn't it? Bloody held us up a bit, that was all. Slowed us down a bit, but we got through it. Lost a bit of traction, but... Oh, if the roads had been graded a bit better, we might have...
Let's do it a bit more. We're going to put a record on there, Right. That wasn't too bad.
A bit more scenery, let's put it that way.
It's good at mine.
It's just one continuous run, isn't it? See, the mine, you're in one area all the time. You get a bit more bloody scope than in the bush for a couple of days, let's face it.
I like that.
I'd do it again if they offered, I'd do it again as well.
This is a bit of a change.
Yeah.
You must have learnt a lot in that S-block.
The S-block's off.
Didn't wait to go on there for now. She won't listen to it.
That's what he's got after.
During their journey, the trucks crossed through pastoral stations, open ranges and even a national park. At times, graders had to be used to make tracks for the convoy. Despite the fact that it took only a few days to complete the trek, the preparations stretched over some weeks.
There was a great deal of preparation for the fact that we had to get 2 very big machines out there, and we had to comply with very stringent environmental conditions, which everyone in the company agreed with, but you know, meant destroying nothing virtually, and at the same time making sure you had access for 24-foot wide vehicles to traverse the terrain.
Well, from an environmental point of view, was there a great amount of difficulty for you in planning it?
Well, we had this in the back of our mind, and obviously we had to stress to our foremen and our plant people out there just how important the environmental aspect was, both from the station owner's point of view and from the National Parks point of view. And I think they handled it magnificently. It was where the truck can run, touch nothing, and you've seen that. The last couple of days looking at the route, that's exactly what we did. Where they could run, they ran on the normal terrain. Obviously the hardest part and the most frustrating part from our point of view was the acquisition of permits from numerous bodies, and just thinking of all the logistics, breakdowns as we discussed earlier, what alternatives, what could happen, and taking the minimum gear and the minimum people to make it an economical exercise.
What sort of difficulties did you in fact run into during the exercise?
Very negligible. A set of brushes for a traction motor, a few inevitable flat tyres on the support vehicles, none on the haul packs themselves, fortunately. A few logistics problems with accommodation and camping out, this sort of thing, but nothing of a major nature where complaints have been registered. Very smooth.
Near the end of the trek, the trucks and their support vehicles moved out of the scrub and under police escort into the mine site. Their arrival after 3 days and 360 kilometres was something of a triumph. At times the trucks had crossed stretches of ground that would have perhaps been a challenge to a four-wheel drive vehicle. The 5 giant haul packs brought the Mount Newman fleet of 200 tonners to 22, a considerable number when you realise there are only 35 of these trucks in the world. But they arrived unscathed, and within 48 hours the first of them was hard at work on the mine face. For the company, it was a major achievement. The trucks were in service far earlier than was otherwise possible, and for those who took part, it was an adventure to be talked about for months to come.